Hey everybody, welcome to Everybody Can Have One More Cat with Steven Meserve, because no one will ever notice. Hey everybody, welcome to my first podcast. Everyone Can Have One More Cat with Steven Meserve. No one will ever notice. I am here and so excited to introduce you guys to Gizzi Erskine. I said that right?
Yeah, it is Gizzi Erskine.
Who is, well, now a dear friend, I guess, at this point, and we're really excited to bring this podcast to you guys and kind of just talk about all things cats. This podcast was really created to raise the visibility of cats globally and for everybody to do their part. And, like I always say, everybody can have one more cat. No one will ever notice. If you have a partner that has a problem with it, then you either need to get two of the cats of the same color or get a new partner, right?
Right? Oh my God, this is exactly the sort of thing I need to be talking about right now.
So it's exciting. So Gizzi lives in. So I'm in Portugal, as you guys know, and Gizzi is you're in central London, right?
I'm in Walthamstow, yeah, East London.
East London. So when I was there, when I was in London for 10 years. We talked about that.
Yeah.
But I was in Spitalfields Market, like Shoreditch area, like right there.
That's basically the best place you could possibly live in the whole of London. So I'm incredibly jealous.
But when I first moved there, like in 2011 maybe, I was on Hanbury Street. It's just literally like Jack the Ripper area, like in between Commercial and Brick Lane, and it was a bit dodgy, right? A little bit. Like I would like run with, but now like it's completely changed.
Look, there's a reason why Jack the Ripper chose those roads. Let's be honest. But still, I used to live when I first moved east. I used to live on Savage Gardens, but that's kind of the other side of Liverpool Street.
You're my first guest, which is really exciting. You're actually not a cat show well, you are a cat person. You're a crazy cat lady, right? So, but in reality, but you're not like involved in the world that I'm involved in. So you and I met. Obviously, we met online, but you and I met for the first time. God, was Stafford.
A couple of years ago.
Stafford, did you come all the way up to the Midlands?
I think you're being very kind. I think the reality is, Stephen, that I actually stalked you, harassed you until you let me come to the cat show.
It's really nice to lead with you because you're not really involved in this cat world. And as we've been working, we'll go back to you stalking me. Stalking me in a second. But I'm trying to bring, we've worked really hard with Loving Cats Worldwide to bring a whole new demographic and a whole new generation of people getting involved in this kind of world to celebrate cats, because we've always known that cats are cool and like cats are a thing, and we just kind of grabbed onto it. So it's good to bring people from an outside perspective to see what this world is, which is really cool. So we met. So back to you stalking me.
Yeah.
You stalked me on Instagram.
So I see something completely weird happen. When your phone, we know our phones are talking to us, and we're watching Crufts, and I was like, why is there not a cat Crufts? This is so annoying. Then fast forward to about 2 hours later, who kept popping up in my feed? You and all of these shows. So then I was just like transfixed, and I was just like, I cannot believe that this is a world that I never knew anything about. And I think I just slid into your DMs, and I was like, Stephen, I love you.
Yeah, and then we met in Stafford. You guys both of you came all the way up, right? For the
a weird like mix of fate, because we were Matt's family are from near there, and we were going from Alton's House, which is a huge theme park in the UK, but up in the north. So we were going there, and then going to Matt's parents, and you were literally right in the middle of our drive. So it was just like, this is so weird. Walked in, had the actual best day of my life.
And this was like, we had just really launched, like I've been around for a while, but like Loving Cats Worldwide had just kind of launched. So that was, when was that? Like it was like
2-3 years ago. It was a long time ago. Yeah, it was a while.
2 or 3. Yeah, so I think it was 2022 when we had literally just launched. So that's really kind of we've totally changed this. So what was your first, that was kind of a low budget show. I'm not gonna say a low budget show. It was like it's the Stafford Showgrounds. We were in there, it's a farm town, right? You know what I mean?
It wasn't Crufts, let's be honest. But then I was brought up, I used to love going to farm shows, and I used to love going anywhere that you could go and see animals. England's famous for all these weird and wacky things. So I just thought, God, it just felt so British. And to
Yeah.
be in the middle of this town and having, but also just knowing that there are just so many people who really believe and care about this sort of stuff. And
Yeah.
actually, just being introduced to these cat people.
So you guys came up to Stafford. It's been about I think 2.5 years since I saw you for the first, so I met you for the first time. So what did you think about the entire environment, the entire
I mean,
environment?
it's sort of like in the UK we have loads of weird things like this. So I was just like, God, this is weirdly like really British. I mean, as a Londoner, you don't often see it because most things in London tend to be fairly high budget. The second I went out, I was just like, but then all you walk in and it's under a big dome and you just meet all these cat people. You can just see everybody there is either there as a fan or they're there showing or they're there with a product to sell. And it was just a load of really interesting people. Like, I really enjoyed. I think I came as you were doing the catwalk, which was just
Yeah. Oh, so this was the show that was in like two parts, right? Like you entered through the vendors with the catwalk, and then the rings were in the second. Yeah. So this was Stafford. It was like a farm town,
yeah,
right? So
exactly, and it was very much a fun time.
yeah.
But you had a huge crowd, and it was just amazing to watch. How people judged, and the fact that you're walking around and you were literally able to meet. It was kind of like Comic Con, but for cats, which to be
But with no
honest,
budget. With no budget.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, look, the only way is up. You can.
Yeah, the only reason that was 2.5 years ago. I would like to think that our events have elevated. If there's not really a gauge anyway, right? So like where you know that the cat world had existed in the United Kingdom. You guys are the birthplace of the cat fancy. Like the first show was in London's Crystal Palace in like the 1870s. So it's like, why has it taken like us to become the first person to get this really well known? Do you know what I mean? And it's like, and it's been in the UK for a long time, which is crazy,
Well,
you know?
what I'm going to say is I'm well known for being like an early adopter of most things in food, and now I can say cats as well. So, but
Yeah, they have another association, a really cool association called the Governing Council of the Cat Fancy, which is like the OG cat world, right? And their historic, well, their shows are like judged in private, like so they open you open the you go into the show and you put your cat if you're an exhibitor, and you leave and the judges judge, and then you come back and you see your awards, and it's like literally all over. So I that has partial to do with why the world hasn't seen this. But I had no idea that, I think even 2.5 years ago, I wasn't as well, I mean, I definitely wasn't as well known as I am now. And it's crazy to see how fast things have grown. So and attracting a younger demographic of cool people that are really getting involved in it,
Well, do you know what? I mean,
So
it's what's really funny that you probably don't know that goes on behind the scenes with my life is the amount of people that DM me, fans of mine, friends of mine, family members, DM me your page going, "Have you seen this?" And I'm like, "Have I seen this?" you know, I'm like, "I'm trying to get his job. Don't worry."
which brings me to London.
yeah.
So let's talk about your like love for cats, like how that came from, like where you like started, like because I'm not to be honest, what shocks a lot of people is that like I wasn't raised with cats. Like I never had cats growing up. I got my first cat on my own when I was like 18 years old. So it was like to be like I never really thought of myself as a cat person historically until the last like 10 years or so. I always liked cats, always were intrigued by them, but they were always sometimes like my grandmother's cat or my aunt's cats were like these standoffish kind of like orange tabbies. I never had this real connection
Yeah.
with people. And then you meet that like cat, the one that changes your entire world upside down. And that's what I think like dog people are like, or people that don't like cats. They just haven't met that one cat. Mine was River. His name was River, and he like completely changed my entire look on. And now it's funny because I have dogs, right?
You
And
have dogs as
you know,
well?
the
I didn't
dogs are,
know that.
yeah, I have two dogs as well. But my dogs are like a lot. You know, they're Cavaliers, right? So they're like really, really, they're like Cavalier King Charles are like cats anyway, but they're really attached to humans. But and they're more attached to Tiago than they are attached to me. But it's funny because like I'm much more comfortable with the cats around than the dogs around. Don't tell them that, but it just recently I just feel like I'm my energy is cat, you know?
I agree. Look, I've always wanted a dog. You know, we almost went and I've wanted a Shar Pei since I was a kid, right? And we went to go and get one, and just like they're just so fucking needy, and I just
So needs
don't.
so much work.
I
Yeah.
like people. I like to what you know to have to work for someone's attention. I don't have that sort of ego that makes me need to be appeased the whole time. And dogs appease you, and then they need appeasing. So I find the energy that the dog requires too much. But you know, I fell in love with cats. Like my mum and dad divorced when I was about sort of 8 or 9, and my dad took me on a trip. We stayed in a farmhouse in France somewhere. I can't remember where we were. And just outside my bedroom was this sort of like kind of like sort of load of hay, like hay bales, and inside there was a cat who'd had kittens, and I just was like that was my that.
How old were you?
I think let's say about 8.
Ah,
And it
yeah,
was
yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
and then the mom was kind of like trusting me with her kittens. I basically positioned myself in the bale of hay for the next week, you know. And I just fell in love with them, you know. I really, really fell in love with them. And it was a really classic farmhouse tabby, you know. It wasn't anything special. She was quite chunky, if I remember. So I think that might
Set
have
up for it.
enhanced my love of the chunky cat. But you know, look,
Yeah.
when I think about reading and the books I loved, you know, when I was really little, it was always books with cats in them, you know. And um, I guess because, you know, I have quite an obsessive mind. Like I have ADHD, and part of that is becoming, you know, like fixated on certain subjects. And cats was certainly one of them. You know, I still have books and books and books of you know, like cat, you know, anything from encyclopedias about cat. Oh God, it's all kicking off our head. Do you hear that?
Yeah, you play and you got a cat behind you.
Yeah, that's far. I've got 4 now is the problem. So
Yeah. So that's it. And then so what happened to those kittens? You know, they stayed in France. Hopefully they're okay.
yeah,
But did you? Because you couldn't take them back at that time anyway
my
because in
family
the
never
UK it
let
was
me have.
quarantine.
I was never
You,
allowed
wait, you were
pets.
quarantined anyway. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
So then when did you get your first cat then? When did you get your first? Yeah.
so Kimchi, she's now 11. She celebrated her 11th birthday at Christmas, and
Any relation to Kimchi the drag queen or totally
I
different?
think probably my Kimchi was around first. I think actually, I think
I think that maybe that kimchi stole your
I'm
kimchi.
just
Yeah,
putting
maybe.
that out there. I'm certain that might be the case. But Kimchi, okay, do you remember Nala Cat?
Yeah, 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 of
So
course.
Nala was, I think, and still is, the biggest internet phenomenon of a cat that people
Yeah, they've really done well,
they've
to
done
be
well.
honest.
And I just
Yeah.
remember discovering her and then sort of looking at the sort of like slightly googly eyed British short hair. And then a friend of mine had said that there was some kittens that were available that looked, she'd seen that were kind of like from a mother that looked like Nala. And it was, but I actually went to go and pick one up, and they weren't at all. They were just really big, white, silver tabby. I say big, she was tiny, but she was a real
Yeah.
round kitten. And she was like white silver tabby with black tips.
Uh-huh.
So she's just got the amazing eye. We have the same eye makeup. I kind of dress like Kimchi today, if I'm honest.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And she just
Were they British short hairs or
very
what
short
were they
hair.
were category British short hairs?
And
Yeah.
she's I think she's a great example of the breed. She, for a girl, you know, I've got a boy Scottish fold, and I know that they're of similar ilks, right?
Same
They're basically
island.
the same cat, just with different ears, right?
Yeah, yeah, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, and so, you know, when I look at Ponzu and I look at how you show the boy cats, and it's always the boy cats that have more, you know, oomph, I think. So, but, you know, for Kimchi, she's a very big, thick-haired. Do you want to meet her?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 of
I can
course.
hear her. Oh, there she is. I can see her. She's over there. Um, But she gets really fat in winter, and she gets really thin. Here we go.
She says she's 11.
She's 11. This is Kimchi. She's got
Yeah, this is pretty. That
in her
she's so
eyes. She's
cute.
got mini.
It's normal though. This is a black silver chinchilla or black silver shaded is the
Gorgeous.
color. Yeah,
In your eyes. I'm sorry. Let me give
look at
that
her
a
little
look.
collar.
Yeah, she's I think she's a silver tabby
It's
black.
just silver tabby. That's what we call. Is it
Oh,
silver, black silver shaded, black silver
she's got
chinchilla,
a lot
black
of
silver
boobs.
tabby.
She's got pink.
But she's got a lot. Her
She's
moobs.
got
She has a lot of silver though.
yeah,
And so
she's 12 and
she's 11 now.
she's 11. Sorry, just to show you her bum, but this is her coat. Like she's got that sort of like black streak running through,
Yeah,
even though she's
cool.
sort of like,
Her coat is quite long too, like which is for a short hair.
yeah.
She shed a lot.
They all shed a lot. I was going
Yeah.
to ask you about that because it's actually getting out of control.
Yeah, the British short hair hat. I mean, you have British and Scottish, right?
Mhm.
That's it.
Yep.
So those cats, they have such a thick, dense undercoat, like it comes out all the time. You know what I mean? It's funny because people say to me, "Oh, I don't want to have a long hair," and I'm like, "Yeah, but a short hair is not much of a
No, no,
bargain,
no,
to
no,
be
no, no.
honest. Sometimes can be
It's
worse."
God's law that I mean, I've ended up acquiring, three which all have white coats at some point, and then Ponzu, who's a lilac, and he's just like all hair. He's just like this big old. He's like a round ball of fluff. So there is no getting away from it now. But they also like. I love it. We kind of what part of the process of like bonding with these cats is doing the brushing, and they love it all.
Yeah, indeed. Back to the point where the dogs and the cats make you regret. Like I was just thinking last night, I was sitting in bed and I have Stone. Stone's like my heart cat. Don't tell anybody else, but like the one
I
that's
know.
always attached to me. He's
I
one
got
of
one.
my soulmates. And there's just something about the energy of a cat when the cat looks at you and then kind of rubs you like like unprovoked, like just does it like because they love you so much. Like when you get that from a cat versus get that from a dog, it's a totally different thing,
Absolutely. It's
because
like
the
they're
dog's
just
gonna
far
do it
more
anyway.
like, I sort of believe that cats slightly live in a different frequency. I think that is actually the truth, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, I would think so. I would absolutely think, we laugh because like we think cats are like so condescending and so like you know what I mean? Like that you have to make them, but we don't know really what goes on in their mind, but I would think they're rolling their eyes all the time, right?
Oh my
It's
God.
like,
So we were saying this the other day because it's really funny because when dogs are literally having a panic attack around you, they're like we saw a dog at the shop round the corner and he was just waiting for his owner and trembling and just thinking, God, that why are you so insecure? Like, and then
uh,
cats are just not like that. But then we were laughing because one of the kitten that I've got, who's Mochi, she's number 4. She's a skittish cat. Like all of my cats, because they're kind of like purebred and they're all a little bit lobotomized, if I'm completely honest. And that's not because for any other reason than they're just like really nice, cozy, cuddly cats. I'm very lucky. They all want cuddles a lot. Whereas Spud, the little one, I'll tell you about how she came around, but she's not cuddly, but at night she comes into bed, and she's just like grips onto you when you're asleep and wants
uh,
your attention when you're asleep, and I'm wondering if it's like, is that a weird secret comfort? What's going on?
is it a Brit? She a British as well?
She's a fold that was sort of like her mum was who's Mochi, who's my third one, was kind of a cat came through the window, like the local cat
I
was.
see,
Who
I see, I
knows
see, I
what he
see, I see.
is? He was like beyond. He was,
British short hairs in general, like just the pedigree British with the ears, like it's pedigree British. They are historically a little uh, they like to be near you but not on you. They're a little bit more reserved. I make this joke all the time, like a little bit more reserved, like the British people. You know what I mean? Some British people.
that's
You know what I
so
mean?
funny and so true.
And they don't like to be held for a very long time. They
Yeah.
like all their feet on the ground, like they like to be in control. Scottish, on the other hand, so when you take a British and you made it with the Scottish, all the kittens are Scottish whether they have the ears or not. That's just the way it
Yeah.
works. But the Scottish with the folded ears have a different
Can I
mentality. Let me see ya.
I'll introduce you to Ponzu, who is he's such a chatty boy. He's really he's I'm gonna say he's
Kimchi.
a big grumpy boy.
Holy
A
moly!
big old chump. Oh, Ponzu. He's either. I'm just gonna have to I'm gonna have to rugby tackle
Yeah,
him.
but you see what I mean about the
I'm gonna
feet
rugby
on the
tackle him
ground?
into this position because he likes this. But he's very chatty. He loves a cuddle, by the way. He's probably the one who wants the cuddles the most at the moment.
But this is what I mean with the ears. Like they're just a different. There's something I can never put my finger on it. My cats with folded ears versus my cats with straight ears are literally different personality cats, even though they're very closely genetically related. So do you see a difference in his personality versus your British?
I see. Completely different.
Uh,
Completely different. I mean, but he's the only boy I've got. So I
yeah, yeah.
don't know if it's a masculine thing. Like he talks the whole
No,
time.
I think it's a folded thing,
It's
to
a
be
folded
honest.
thing.
Like I have like in my house, like my cats, I've got 20 cats, right? So my cats all
20.
yeah. Yeah, it's a party, you can come over. But my cats live in gangs, you know what I mean? My house is quite big, right? So it's not really you don't really even notice, but my cats live in gangs. So like I have a kitchen gang, I have like the main house gang, I have like the upstairs gang, and they're all controlled by like one black cat in each pod, right? It's funny, this like the non-pedigree black cat controls it. But no one goes from section to section. They all stay where they are, except the cats with the folded ears. My folds can go back and forth like with no issue, and no one bothers them. Like, and I feel like, and they're just so docile and chill, and the ones with the folded ears, and I think the cats with the straight ears are like, oh, something wrong with those guys. Like, you know, like, let's just leave them alone,
Yeah.
you know. But their personalities are completely different,
Well,
you
the
know.
third one, where's March?
Yeah, let's see
The
the other
third one,
ones.
Mochi. Mochi was a sort of impulse buy. I was not
I
going to
love,
get
I love
anyone.
all the names.
And Mochi, I've always wanted a tricolor fold. That was the cat I wanted when I was 7, 8, whatever. When I first fell in love with cats,
Yeah, like a calico. Yeah, yeah.
and I picked her up, and she is like no other creature that's ever existed. I've never met anything like her. She's absolutely tiny because she look at her.
This is a blue tortoiseshell and white. The color like
Yeah,
it's a blue calico. Yeah,
but look at her little face. She's so
so funny.
ridiculous, and you can hold her like this all day. She is like,
Yeah,
when you were saying that how they look at you or how they want to sort of react with you. This one has got this thing where she comes. If you're look, she'll just sit like this. She's just so floppy. Um, But she's got the most spice, and in the morning she's the one doing the zoomies, and she's like the one who asks for food the most. And if you're talking about the hierarchy, it all comes down to her. And I think, and you can correct me about this, is because she's the mum, right? So she's had the babies. So I think what happens is Kimchi's like the godfather, right? She's the godmother. She's keeping her eye over the whole thing. She tends to sit up high on counters and watch, right? Whereas nobody's allowed to eat before Mochi. Mochi's in charge of the food, of where everyone sleeps, of
but
who.
kimchi's not related, right?
Not at all. None of them are
No.
ratchet. I mean, the only one that's related is Spud to Mochi.
Yeah.
Um, but she's in charge, and she's one of the youngest. But it's because I think she had a mum. Because she's a mum. Ponzu leaves her alone completely out of respect. He tries to have sex with her daughter the whole time, even though he's got no balls. I thought that wasn't going to be possible.
Also in regards to being the mom, maybe, but also that color, like that
Oh,
calico torty color in any breed tends to be a little bit. We call them naughty torties
oh, she
because
is.
they tend to be a little bit more dominant everywhere. So probably has to do with that she is the mom, but also that color for some reason people. It's a well-known fact in my
What is
in
the
my
mum?
world, but His hair everywhere.
Yeah.
In my world, it's well known, but it's when I say it out loud to people, they're like, "Oh, how can a personality affect color?" Like it
Actually
does. You know
does.
what I mean? But color affect personality rather. So let me. So what about the kitten? You're gonna show me the kitten? Is that-
And then the final thing about Mochi is that when she climbs onto you and she sits and I feel she puts her little heart right on my heart, and she has this purr. She sounds like a like little like gremlin. She sounds like a like Gizmo. She sings at the same time as purrs. Like what is that? And then you could feel her little heart like on your heart. It's so cute. Not the others. Not, I don't have that with the others.
Yeah,
She's not.
that's the one.
She's
You know.
from a different place. Different space. Now this is Spud, who's the daughter, who's enormous. Well, twice the size of Mochi. Long legs. None of my cats have long legs, and I realised long
This
legs.
is the one that is we're not sure who the father
We
is.
don't know who the father. Well, we sort of do know who the father is because he used to stand outside the house meowing the whole time. Cats are
Ah,
meowing.
so there you go.
So this is
But now you know better, right?
so this is baby Spud, who is like wiry.
Because he's half to Met. It's a girl or a boy?
A
Boy?
girl. Look at her tail. I know she's about to.
Oh, she's a calico as well, yeah.
Yeah. So and she is. If I'm honest, she's a bit shit. she's so sweet at night, but she's just not. She disappears.
She's not a pedigree Scottish, is she? Right?
Say it again?
She's not a pedigree
No,
Scottish.
she's got
Her
the
dad is a
ears.
Magyar. But you can see that the body's longer and the face is longer. You know, this is because she's outcrossed,
Yeah,
to a
exactly. She looks like a real cat, if you know what I mean, like a normal.
it's funny genetically that you got the fold in that was there other kittens in that litter?
Yeah, so that litter there was Montgomery who went to Russell Brand actually. He owns Montgomery. And then
Were they all folded?
yeah, he's foaled. He was a red hair foaled.
Were they all folded? The whole litter?
No, one of them wasn't.
Okay.
Two of them. One of them wasn't. Yeah. And then the first that was the second litter. There was another one where they were mostly long haired, but there was one fold. But there were only three. Yeah, it was awful. I was opening a business outside of London. I had someone house sitting. It was in the middle of the summer, so she'd had come into on heat at Christmas, and then like had the babies, and then 5 months later she was pregnant again because the cat just kept coming through the fucking window.
Now she's spayed, right?
Now she's spayed. Don't worry. She's
So
been spayed. She's been
spayed for
spayed
your
for
cats, you
years.
end up with kittens. But I'm glad they all. I mean, Russell Brand, like that's cool. How'd that happen?
Oh, I knew. I mean, I've known Russell for ages. But,
Uh,
yeah, but I knew his wife, so she really wanted one. She was just like, I can't not ask, can I have one? So, and then one of them went to, yeah, they've all got like kind of like Ponzu has two famous siblings. One of them was Caroline Flack, sadly, who obviously was one of my very
yeah.
good friends. Like, so we got them at the same time. So Ponzu's brother Waffle was Carrie's, and now lives with her family. And then Nadine Shah, who's a pop star, has his other one. So
Yeah, yeah.
big family. And then Tom Furs from The Horrors has one of the kittens. I mean, they're like, there's a very famous family tree going on here.
That's super. That's super cool, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing. I mean, it's really nice. It's also nice to sort of know where they all are.
Everyone Can Have One More Cat with Steven Meserve is brought to you by Roz, a family brand with a big heart. Roz is a pet nutrition brand that understands the importance of helping the furry friends we all consider family. Not only are they committed to providing pets with natural food options that are high meat and minimally processed, but they are also dedicated to giving back to those in need. By donating 100% of their profit through the Roz Fund, they've contributed over $3.7 million to pet-specific causes and those living with disabilities across the United States. Cooked in small batches, without the use of rendered meals, Roz Recipes ensures high-quality protein and nutrition in every bite. To shop their line of nutritionally complete offerings for cats and dogs, or find an authorized local retail partner near you, visit rawsnaturalpetfood.com. That's Rawz, Rawz.
Yeah, because like when accidents happen, we preach nonstop, spay and neuter your cats because we don't want this stuff to happen. But you live, you learn. But you obviously did the right thing and got them into the proper homes and stuff, which is key, right?
Oh, it is key. I mean, I would have kept them, but I think it just where I was living at the time, it wouldn't have been fair on my neighbours. I think more than anything, it's one thing having, we lived on a mews and everyone loved having the cats around, but I think by cat 4 it was like where I live now though.
Everyone can have one more cat. You know what I mean? No one will notice.
Yeah.
And so that's did I see all 4? I saw all 4.
That's
Yeah.
all 4. Yeah.
That's all 4. So cool. So well, I was gonna say something about the cat. What was the one, Mochi? She's the one that purrs on your chest.
Yeah.
Is that was her?
Mochi,
Yeah.
yeah.
My favorite thing really is when I'm going to sleep at night and I have a cat that's with me and they purr, right? And they're purring really heavy, but it's like there's something really soothing about that. And I look forward to when the cat stops to purr, because it's like, you hear the purr like kind of like going off. It means that they're sleeping. There's something really kind of like medicinal for me anyway about that.
It is medicinal. I've researched it a lot. Like it is medicinal. I worry sometimes with Mochi that she's such an impressive woman, that cat, pregnant at 6 months by complete accident and idiocy for me. The second round I'm taking no responsibility for. That's not true. But she's been a mum and she's been a very impressive woman as a mum. But what I think her mission in life is to heal. Like she is going around, like comes up, paws on. She's the one that if you're upset knows about it. She's the one that if you're happy is running around you. She's a real energy, a ball of like reading energy as well as putting it off. And she's really otherworldly, I think. She's a very, very unique and precious woman.
So fun. Did you have any people ask me all the time about, should I get an extra cat, should I get another cat? They're always worried that they're not going to get along very well at the beginning, or it's going to kind of disrupt like the energy, you know what I mean, in the house. Did you have any problems acclimating them, or
it's now?
Yeah, well, I guess the kitten, no.
Now they've got their pack. It's fine. I mean, there were definitely issues when the kittens were around. Ponzu was just like, I am not having any of this. This is a disaster. I'm off out. He packed his bags and then went round to my neighbours and just was happier not around, and that was really sad for me because obviously, like, I've got a real strong bond. I've got a great bond with all of them. I think I've got the least bond with Spud, but then I kind of adore her at night when she wants those cuddles, and she really surprises me sometimes of cats and where like the frequencies, I guess.
Yeah, that purring. Like, when it stops, I don't know, that's just something about that. Like, it's very soothing and really makes me, when I'm traveling, when I'm all over the place and I can't travel with my cats, right? It's really kind of surreal for me to be in a hotel room without the cats, which is really
a huge loss. Like, we feel it everywhere. We went to Barbados and we're having a time of our lives, but every night it's like, God, it's weird. Like, wouldn't it be amazing to be able to bring them around?
Yeah, it's so difficult for you guys in the UK. Well, I mean, I can travel a little bit more easy than you guys can because you guys have very strict controls on how the animals come in and out of the UK. You know what I mean? You can fly out, but you can't fly in. So it's kind of defeats the purpose.
A TikTok video of somebody who had taken one of those amazing first class, central double beds, and she had 3 cats in bed with her, and I was like, that is like one of my like new, what's it called? Boxes to tick. What's it called? Your hit list of things you want to
do. Your bucket list?
My bucket list. I don't know how like good. I mean, they were having a lovely time, to be honest. It was like they were all like curled up and purring and cute. It's very sweet. What do you feel about that? So I was watching a TikTok and there was somebody who had booked one of those central first class, double beds on something like Emirates. It was like, oh, you got a baby behind you. And and they had three cats in bed with them on the first class flight. So they were traveling with three cats.
It's funny because I do. I mean, I fly quite a bit, so I have a lot of status, right? So I'm able to upgrade quite a bit, And if I travel with a cat, it sounds crazy, but I have to go back into coach because in first class or business, there's nowhere to put the cat under the seat. You know what I mean? In front of you, if you think about it.
Yeah.
There's no way to, so they don't let you fly with animals. And, you can't register a cat any longer as an emotional support animal, so
I felt
they
like
don't let
they're
you
better
do it
for
anymore.
emotional support than.
You can register dogs as, because they had all these crazy things where people were flying with like ostriches and like, you know what I mean? Like stupid stuff. So now you have to register them as psychiatric support, but it can only be a dog.
Who is that?
Lady.
Let me say hi.
This is Lady Bunny.
Lady Bunny! You're funny.
Lady Bunny was one of my rescues that was really kind of like, I had a really big problem here in Portugal when we first moved here. It's Mediterranean Europe, right? So they take good care of the cats, but not to the extent of spaying and neutering. And we had to teach the locals really that it's really important to spay and neuter. So every summer we'd end up with kittens that just would literally come out of the bushes. You know what I mean? Like on death's door, you know what I mean? Because they had nowhere else to go. So Lady Bunny came out literally on her last leg, covered in fleas, mites, parasites. Like one of her eyes was shut. I gave her a bath, kind of got her up and running, and I just kind of nursed her back to health. And she never really grew. She was kind of stunted, and I still left with. We did a lot of adoptions from here. I don't know, probably 20 or 30 in the last few years, and a lot of them live in London actually.
Do they?
But some of the ones that we're left with like the blacks and the torties. The blacks and the torties just don't get adopted, which is kind of
I read that the other day. The blacks.
Yeah, which is kind of sad, And I have three blacks.
Cat, I would get a black
Huh?
cat. If I was going to get another cat,
Yeah,
I'd get a black cat.
I have three solid black cats. Preta, which means black in Portuguese. She's the head of the kitchen gang. And then I have Lilith, who came from me so Preta was a rescue that was outside, in a puddle that we just brought in one day that was just like someone dumped off. Like she was in really good condition, but I literally think someone threw out of a car window.
Oh God! What?
Yeah, and then
People?
Yeah, and then Lilith, who's the head of kind of the main house gang, she came from a friend of, not a friend, well, kind of a colleague, not even a colleague, an acquaintance of mine, unfortunately passed. And she was American, and she lived about an hour from me. And she passed, and we went up there to help with, she had a bunch of cats, so we went up there to help with the adoption of the cats. So we took 3, adopted 2 out. Lilith just kind of, no one wanted her, so she just stayed with us. So she's here, and then I have
for a black cat though.
Lilith, yeah, so it's the name she came with, and then I have Shay, who literally doesn't leave my bedroom. Like she doesn't leave. She doesn't want to leave. If you open the door, keep it open, she just stays there. Like she doesn't want to leave that room. I think she's so paranoid that she's gonna get locked out at night that she just stays there. And she sleeps with me every single night. And she just loves to stay there. So those 3 really, and were just not adopted, but they all have very different personalities.
Yeah.
Like Lilith is like, she's like a old lady, old Portuguese lady gossip, likes to sit in the windows and see what's going on outside, like she knows. And Simone is really Simone, hers her real name, but we call her Preta. She is really grumpy and crotchety and and then Shay is just very sweet and down to earth and doesn't bother anybody. So it's like three completely distinct
Yeah.
personalities on the blacks, you know?
But I guess like I do feel like they do independently all have really incredibly different personalities. You know, I don't think I've ever met the same cat twice. Do you know what I mean? I really feel like
And I think that's why, we get people ask me all the time, I don't care, if you want to add a pedigree cat to your life, like who are we to say that you can't do that, right? I always say, it'd be nice to get a rescue too. Everyone can have more cat, but some people are drawn to specific personalities of a breed. You know what I mean? You're obviously drawn to that look of these big chunky, cats, which you said was probably from when you were in France, right?
I imagine.
But some people are drawn to the aspect of like they want a very active cat like a Bengal, or they want that majestic Maine Coon. Like that's cool. Like if you wanna have a big, who are we to say this world that divides the rescue world and the pedigree world, like we've done a good job kind of like staying in the middle and educating on both aspects, but like that's a perfect example. You can rescue a black cat, and you never know what you're gonna get. You know what I mean? You literally never know what you're gonna get. If you rescued a black cat, and I'm not discouraging people from adopting, because of course that's not the case. You make it work. But I mean, if you wanted this sweet kind of Shay attached to you cat, and you got the crazy kitchen cat,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? It's totally different. That's why people are drawn to pedigrees.
Like I will eventually adopt. Like there is no question of it. There'll be a point where I've had enough of like even being in this sort of part of London, and I will eventually do what you've done and get an enormous house and fill it with animals. That is on the agenda. I sort of really feel like at this time of my life, I've sort of still questioning whether I want children, and for a variety of reasons, a lot of it ethical and a lot of it's environmental. I'm sort of questioning whether I want kids. And instead of children, my investment has been in 3 pedigree cats. That was my investment. One of them ended up having kittens, which was dumb as fuck. But, I sort of, that is my justification of that. This is the choice of my family at the moment, Eventually, though, I'm going to become, we will be adopting millions and millions and millions.
And it moves to the countryside.
Maybe. I don't know. But we'll definitely get to a point where we can have more cats. Definitely.
So fun. So let's talk about London and what we're gonna do there together. Are you gonna be you're gonna be able to attend, right?
Yes.
Or
I
what?
mean, as soon as we saw it, I put it in my diary. So that was
So this is a kind of a cool. London's kind of one of our iconic shows. We've moved the show from Olympia to Queen Elizabeth Park, which is actually better for you. It's on the east side. So it's the old. From what I understand, was built. This stadium or arena was built for the Olympics. So
park.
yeah, it's Copper Box Arena. They have a lot of basketball games there and all this kind of stuff. So we moved over there. We're kind of under the gun because we literally just popped up this show because I wasn't sure we were going to do it again. But this is quite an iconic show. Central London. We used to, before we were Loving Cats Worldwide, I don't know if you know, we used to be called London Cats. So like we used to be, we've been always LCWW, but we were London Cats Worldwide versus Loving Cats because I was based in London and most of our shows were in the United Kingdom. So it's kind of like, in our very first show in London that I ever did was in 2019 before COVID at Tobacco Dock.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I love Tobacco
Yeah,
Dock.
right in the center,
That's
right?
a big venue. I mean, I've used that venue for some of my events, so that's monster.
Yeah, it's super cool. I mean, we were way oversold. This was
starter event.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was too busy, to be honest. Like, and we didn't know. We were not the company we were now. Like, I don't even know if we were selling advance tickets. We might have been, but I don't think we were pushing like we do now. And so we weren't even anticipating the amount of people that come on the door. In the UK, when we do a show in the UK versus the US now, like it's like whatever opens on the day of the UK is like what comes in. Like you guys are planners, you know. In the United States, like we sometimes increase the footfall by like 50%. Like the people come on the door. So, but that particular show, I don't know what happened. I don't think we were selling tickets in advance, and we just got completely killed. But so we were loving Cats World. We were London Cats Worldwide. So it's kind of like coming home for me, you know, which is really cool. I want to do something fun with you. So I ran a contest a year ago. You know, I don't know if you remember, and we had submissions for you judging your cat, like I would judge your cat, and you put a video submission in, and we got like, I don't know, a few hundred of them, and we picked one winner, and his name was Rami. He lives in Indiana, actually. And the prize was you get to hang out with me the entire day and learn all about the cats. And he came down to West Palm Beach. And to be honest, like he was really good, like really, really amazing. Learned a lot about the cats, was really into it, knew some of the standards, was really good handling. So, you know, he's going to start to go into the judging program, which is really kind of epic because, you know, historically speaking, historically speaking, in the traditional cat world, in order to become a judge, like there's time like that and I'm not saying we're making shortcuts, but because you're not, like, we're not going to make Rami a judge tomorrow. He needs to work and he needs to train and he needs to like put his time in. But like historically in the older associations, because there are others that have been around for a long time, you have to breed a certain amount of cats, you have to do this, there's a lot of work, which is commendable, right? But like we took off all the breeding requirements because I just don't think in this day and age it's ethical to say that if you are passionate about cats and you want to celebrate cats and you want to love cats, why should we mandate that you have to breed cats if you don't want to breed cats? That to me is a bit.
Sorry, just to go backtrack a bit. Is that to be you have to breed cats in order to be able to access the show whatsoever, or to learn?
No. This is just to be a judge. I'm saying we reduce the requirements like from any other traditional association. All traditional associations require that you breed for a certain amount of years and produce I just find that in this day and age, 2025, you know what I mean, where people live in smaller spaces, you know, you know, you're never gonna. I mean, why would we do that? Why would we mandate? You're reducing the demographic of people that would love to be judges so drastically. So we support anybody that loves cats. You know, we don't license people as judges right away. You have to train for a certain amount of time, and you have to.
What is the training? Like what?
Oh my gosh. You have to, it's literally all hands on, and there's 75 different breeds. You need to know the standards. You need to know, there's a lot that goes involved in it, you know, but I think maybe this will be kind of cool for you because we'll figure out, I think that you can in London, we'll judge a class together and we'll go live or do something fun.
Okay, so I want to judge a class with you. If out of all of my cats, all 4 of them, if I was to put it, because you said that there is a potential.
Do you have paperwork on any of them?
Say that again?
Do you have pedigree? Do you have
work on Ponzu, the big boy?
But not on the Tortie.
I will be able to find it. I do have it, but I just don't know what I've done.
Yeah, so if she's I mean, you know, you can put them into the show. I mean, I would put for me, the best of the lot was probably the girl.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
She is the best. I agree with you, by the way.
She might be the easiest to show too, because you have to. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a lot going on, you know.
And also, like, if I'm showing a cat, I mean, obviously this is like just preliminary stuff, right? So, from what I understand, is you brush daily, right? And you clean the eyes. And as far as food goes, there's a lot of like salmon oil and things like that, which puffs up their coats. And is there anything else that you can do?
I mean, that's it. I mean, you can give her. I mean, has she ever had a bath?
She has, but not for years. I could try and give her a bath and see what happens.
Just give her a bath a week ahead of time and make sure the white is white, and then you just get all the dead hair. Don't pull the coat out completely because you know what I mean. You need that fluffy British. The Scottish should stand away from the body a little bit. So it's So
Do you
it's good.
think that there's like, I mean, I not purposely, but do you think, because there's obviously two types of Scottish fold. You've got the really big eyed, I mean, she's got big eyes, but she's got a little nose and her eyes are lower and massive. And her tail and her body, when I look at you guys judge exotics, I feel like she's got tiny legs, barrel body, fat tail, short tail. See, I'm good, aren't I?
Yeah. People don't think that. But yeah.
Short body, really round head, you know. But she's a
Yeah, the
real.
Scottish should be round. The Scottish should look like a little owl, right? Like that's what they should look like, an owl. But they should be not as long as a British, but not as short as an exotic either.
Right,
You know what I
okay.
mean?
I'm worried she's short like an exotic, but we'll see. We'll see. Because her tail
Yeah.
feels exotic to me. Her tail is like short and thick.
Yeah, I think what would be cool if you can is to is to document your journey, from start to finish.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think would be really cool in the beginning of how you get to the show, what you're doing and what it's like there would be super cool
That's
for you,
such
I
a
think.
fun idea. Okay, right. Sold. We're doing that.
Yeah, let's do that. And then, I mean, I'll keep you informed of everything. But I think for as far as like you judging a class, so like what we did with Rami in West Palm Beach, like he stayed with me the entire day. He handled a little bit. I taught him like the mechanics of the ring, like how to call the cats up, what the classes were, what the different colors were, what to look for, this kind of stuff, which was really cool and he found really, really interesting. So, but back to the whole judging thing, we want people that are passionate about cats. You know what I mean? Everything else can be learned and taught. It's an art form what we do. I make it look very easy because I handle quite a bit. But to handle a cat in public with 1,000 people in front of you, you know what I mean, is a very difficult thing to do. And to make it look like you're not like over handling the cat or hurting the cat, even though we know we're not hurting the cat, we have to make the appearance that we're just kind of petting the cat. You have to feel certain things, but you have to kind of trick the cat into the cat thinking it's up there just getting stroked. You know what I mean?
No, for sure. It's a skill. I can see that. And also, I think that what was really interesting when I went to your show for the first time was the cats that were able to be carried around and introduced. They love it. They are superstars. They're like starlets. They know that is their job. They get it. And that's really interesting. So everyone in that room knows their role, including the cats, It's funny. And it's a tough thing to have to be, but then also they are temperamental as much as you can probably.
Yeah, you have to every cat is different. Every breed is handled differently. And every cat, you can, when I bring a cat out of the pen onto the table, like I can tell what I can do with that cat in the public forum. Do you know what I mean? Like,
It's
and if
an instant read, you're like,
there's an automatic. You can feel it in the body. You can feel it in the tail. If I feel the cat is going to be relaxed, then I'm more backed off, and the cat kind of manages the table. But if I know the cat's literally going to jump off the table, I have to have all hands on that cat at all times. Which is also, you don't imagine like in central London or in Olympia last year. I mean, a cat got loose like in a crowd of 4,000 people. Like, I mean, this is like a worst nightmare, right? It happens all the time, to be honest. Like, everything shuts down, the doors shut down, we scream cat loose, everyone stays, and it's really hard to catch it. And we try to tell everybody not to go near the cat, just let the owner or the handler go there because you don't want to get bit or, or anything.
Oh my God, I had the funniest thing happen on the weekend. It's just remembered. I went to a vintage shop and I thought, oh my God, there's this really cute little taxidermy white cat with a scarf on. So I went to go and pick it up thinking it was taxidermy.
A real one?
The whole thing fucking attacked me. I've never been attacked by a cat before. And it went for me. But I was convinced it was dead. I was convinced it was just a model. Just sitting there, perfect, tiny.
Did you see the video of did we talk about this already? The video that I did, sometimes I do these one-on-ones, people show me their cats, right? And I put them on social media. But there was a lady that actually had her cat taxidermy.
I saw it.
I mean, and it was so realistic.
It was really real. I think that I'd just seen that, so I was like,
I'm gonna get her as a guest. Actually, I think I'm gonna bring her on the show. I think because
dude, you
it would
must
be,
do.
yeah. But it was like She lives in like Paso Robles, which is like wine country of Northern California. So she got the cat done at a very specific place in Los Angeles that like is like for movie studios and stuff. And it was really expensive, but I mean, and she said the cat had weight and everything. It wasn't like hollow. They kept everything in there. So I'm really interested
So
to
what do you
see
mean?
what.
They keep the guts? No.
I have no idea. I'm gonna find out though. We'll explore that more. But the cat looked like completely real. You know?
I mean, like I kind of think that I
To
might
each
do
their
that
own,
myself.
but I
I've
don't
got
know if I
cats
could do
around
that.
me, all around my
Yeah, I would
house.
have them all on the shelves everywhere. You know? Can you
Yeah.
imagine? Hey, everybody.
We have like a little shrine of like loads of like I don't know, like
You
this
know,
would
but
be
can you imagine, like
if
in like
they would have done
15
it.
years, in like 15 years from now, all my cats here in Portugal, a lot of them are from since we've lived here, you know, so they're all like under 5 years old. A couple of them are in 10 and 11, but like in like 10, 15 years from now, like things are gonna get really sad. You know what
Yeah,
I
it's gonna
mean?
be awful. I mean, I can't even. I mean, I'm so sorry about Gargamel, by the way. I
I
was.
know, it's poor Gargamel. We did
Oh,
the best for him though,
I
you
know.
know?
No, of
Did the
course.
best
I
we
mean,
could.
like, what do you do in that situation? It's so.
But
It's
he was a lot older than we thought. I thought he was like 5 or 6 when we got him, and you know, but it ended up like he's ended up had the organs and probably 15, 16 years old. So he had a good run.
yeah, he had a
You
good
know what I
run.
mean?
What a dude,
I
though.
think I think those people that dropped him off, like, I mean, okay, so thank you for doing that, jerks, but like assholes. But I mean, they probably thought he was gonna die, and you know what I mean. And maybe he was, but I gave him another 2 years. You know.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It's so
So
funny. He looked exactly like he should have been your cat, though. Like when I look at
yeah,
all your
it's just
little
so
short, like,
random. Here, it's just so random here in the neighborhood because there's a lot of street cats here, you know, and it's just so random. I literally opened up to my doors to like the gate, you know, to drive out, and on the wall across the street was a Persian. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, who puts a Persian here, you know?
yeah. No, no.
So
Your baby's behind you as well. I think this is the one I want to meet.
this is Gigi.
Oh, it's Gigi. We got the same name.
Gigi. I have Stone here though.
That's who I want to meet. I want to meet Stone.
And he's always with me.
Oh my God, Stone, he is a chonk.
Yeah. So he's an American short hair.
Is he? What makes them different, Americans to British?
Eye shape, the body's a bit longer. They're a little bit easier to handle than
Yeah.
British. I say they're a little bit chiller.
Yeah,
than
he
a
looks
British.
chill.
You can see.
Yeah.
So, but you can also outcross an American short hair with a Scottish as well. So those are two
bet that makes
ways to
nice
do it. So a lot of my cats that are here the folds are all outcrossed to American short hairs, not British short hairs. So
Can I ask you another question about breed, which is just like this is the breed that I've always had, that I've only recently seen through a lot of your stuff, which is the really big, fat, chunky Persian boys with the long hair and the really big eyes and the really short ears. Is that a traditional Persian? Like, what do you?
well, it depends on the way you look at it. You know, we call them like traditional or contemporary Persians, I suppose. At this point, there are Persians with like the more of like a longer muzzle, like a doll face.
That's what I always imagined a Persian to be like this.
Yeah, but it's like kind of like saying but no registered cat association in the world that cat wouldn't fit the standard. The standards are written now for the contemporary Persian. You know what I mean? Not though. It's like breeding a Doberman or a Rottweiler against the standard that it fits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Is
So it
it
depends on which way you look at it. People might say that the ones with the muzzle are the traditional Persians,
Yeah.
I suppose, because they were the ones. They have been extremely pulled in over the years, right? but they're a very healthy breed
Yeah.
when bred properly, as with any breed, but they can have problems breathing, they can have small nostrils, they can have problems with their teeth, they can have a lot of problems if they're not looked after by an ethical breeder.
When I think of cats just generally, and I don't know, touch wood, like maybe this is because I've just been very lucky, but with all of the concerns about foals, I feel like my cats are incredibly healthy.
Yeah, I mean you're lucky
Like
because
they're healthy.
the folds are not without controversy for a reason. I mean they have problems, and as much as the Scottish Folds breeder are gonna hate me for saying this publicly, that gene can't really be controlled no matter how many times people think it can. So it's really it's yeah, you're lucky. I have some folds here that are bred from me in my house that have problems. And I only
At what stage would you expect problems? Like what do problems look like? Because
walking, jumping.
so they can hurt their
We,
limbs. It's
Yeah,
bone.
what happens is they get the gene that causes, this is another whole conversation, but just to quickly, the gene that causes the ears to fold is essentially a weakening of the cartilage. That's why the ears fold down. And every Scottish fold has weakening in the cartilage, or it wouldn't have folded ears.
Yeah.
So eventually,
I appreciate where cartilage is. It's always in your joints.
yeah, so eventually, all Scottish with folded ears will develop problems with the cartilage. It can come earlier, it can come later. They say, why you should never breed a folded cat to a folded cat, because in genetics, if you double up on the gene that carries the folded gene, it increases the probability of problems earlier on. However, there's also not very controllable in general. I brought one Scottish fold into my program years ago, just one. Do you know what I mean? So all of my folded cats are related to that one cat, and some are really good and really healthy and long flexible tails and good joints, and some have problems with their wrists already, their tails are short, so it's and there's no doubling up anywhere because I only had the one cat, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, for sure. I totally understand
so
that.
it's just a really it's and there have been a lot of unethical breeders in folds, especially because the folded ear cats is what people want, because those are the cute ones, right? That's Taylor Swift, Ed Sheeran, like I all made these folded eared cats very popular, so they want the folded ear cat. So if you breed fold to fold, you're going to get primarily all folds. So those
Yeah.
are the ones that sell. They're going to be fine as a kitten, but maybe at 1.5, 2 years old, you know what I mean? They're going to start to have problems.
And
All
also
folds should go on.
the-
You never know. You should get them on. You should, if you don't already, your folds should go on glucosamine and fish oil, just as preventative anyway.
Yeah,
Folds
I
also,
think
every single breed of cat also has different diseases that are prevalent in the line. Folds have problems with their kidneys at times. British Shorthair have problems with their hearts. So there's this is just in the line, so it's just kind of, and then folds that are come from British lines can have problems with their kidneys. Not to scare you, but your cats seem fine, so you should be fine.
No, I'm not. Look, it's I when I bought Ponzu, I didn't know what the deal was. When I got Mochi, I did, and it's you don't want to be part of the problem. But at the same time, I also know that, I was aware. I mean, I knew about fish oils. Glucosamine is genius. I'm going to take that away with me for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's sort of kidney supplements and stuff you can give them, but it is what it is, I mean, I'm sure they're going to be fine. They're obviously, you doing your best. They're well cared for. They're well looked after. And then that's
They're
the
very.
point of
I'm
it.
really lucky. I mean, I've got everyone. No one can quite believe like the sort of the personalities in them. That they are just such cuddly, confident,
Yeah.
cuddly cats. I'm very lucky to have them on.
You have the, so I guess to close this out for now until our next one, when we get busier, when we get more followers, we're bringing you back. But
Okay, amazing. So,
the um, so in keeping in theme of the podcast, you know, so you have four, right? So what's your next? Do you think you need to move before you can get another one?
I mean,
Is
it's
that what you're gonna
annoying
do?
because I've owned my properties for up until now, but this is a rental, and respectfully,
You don't want to push.
I'm not sure how appropriate it is. That said, if I asked the question, I'm sure they wouldn't mind. They're pet lovers and
You
so.
think, but you think, and also keeping with the theme, like, do you think they would even notice? Never.
Probably now I'm out doing this, they might notice.
When this goes,
Annoyingly, this
you're
is
only supposed to have four. But what's the difference, 4 to 5? What's the big deal, right?
exactly, and they're dog people. They probably wouldn't even notice. I don't know. If I did, I would like if there was such a thing as a rescue exotic. That would be what I want. I want like the sort of. I think I probably.
You love that chunky kind of fatty, like, you know what I mean? That's the cats I like
want
as
a
well.
ridiculous looking cat with big eyes.
Yeah, I like those.
I just want massive
Those
eyes.
big chonk cats. You know the British short hair in general. You know is the Cheshire cat, right? So it's
You've got the Cheshire cat. Do you know who Bagpuss is? You must know who Bagpuss is.
yeah.
Bagpuss, he's a chunky cat. Who else? Garfield. Like we know
Garfield,
all
yeah.
my childhood loves. So I don't.
Yeah,
blame-
indeed.
Yeah, and then that cat in France.
Okay, cool. So, Gizzi, thank you very much. It was a really good insight. We're gonna speak offline anyway about London and how we're gonna
Let me just
manage
check the
that.
place. Also, I'm going to take a picture of us quickly.
Yeah. Post that. Yeah.
I'm gonna. Don't you worry. What? Hang on, let me clean a lens. What date is London again? Just to make sure I've got the right one.
14th and 15th. So it's Valentine's Day. It's Friday night and Saturday day.
Okay, I'm working on Valentine's Day evening. Probably.
Yeah, so it'd be
Could I
Saturday
do
then.
the 15th?
Yeah.
15th
Yeah,
would be
yeah.
better.
Anyway, so thank you very much for everything.
Thank you very much.
You guys that are listening, this is Everyone Can Have One More Cat. This is our first and initial pod and our official, I guess, what is this? Our first in the series. I guess. I hope it goes well. We're gonna be dropping these every Tuesday. And we'll speak soon. Thank you very much, Gizzi.
Love you,
Big hugs
Steven.
to all
See
your
you
cats.
soon.
Thanks
See
for
you in
introducing
London.
me to everybody. And we'll speak soon. Bye.